So the new polls show Americans overwhelmingly rejecting Trump's governing so far. The public not only souring on his overall leadership and economic problems, but actually doing so across the board. Let me show you. A new survey from Pew shows Trump is underwater no matter how you divide up the nation, which, as you know, in politics, people often do. So he's underwater with women and men, across racial groups, with younger and older voters, even across the education gap, which you probably heard has become a bigger gap between the parties lately. Democrats have struggled with voters who didn't go to college, but non-college and college grads, both groups, oppose what they've seen so far. These findings are just a really long ways from the campaign era. Now, you remember, Democrats faced those incumbent headwinds. They also swapped in a new candidate later than any other presidential race in history. But for all the bluster, I mentioned that tonight because it might seem like ancient history, but even that was a close national race. Trump won by under 2 points. He had about 50% of the total vote. We're not going to do a lot of math tonight, but with these new polls and they're ricocheting in MAGA World and on Fox, keep that November number in mind, 50%. Because maybe the idea of Trump after 4 years off last November was more appealing to more people than what we're now living through, which is the president actually governing. 95 days in, Trump has basically fallen to 40%. So 50 in November, now crashing to 40, and they're just getting started. This is supposed to be the honeymoon time. These polls are driving rough headlines about weakening Trump's mandate already. And there are some other numbers that show how it does get even worse when you dig in or go into the crosstabs, as I mentioned, going deep into the numbers. But before I even get to those, I just want to show you up top here how this Trump polling slump, which is also reflected in a new Fox poll where you see the majority disapprove, according to Fox News' pollster, on basically every issue. You can see that. Border security is the only one where a majority actually approves. Wide disapproval on Fox. That's their poll. Makes it harder for them to ignore it. And here's how that played across that usually MAGA-friendly channel.
The polls, they're not extraordinary.
Job approval compared to other presidents. There you see the president at 44%. And you see his first term at 45%.
It's actually behind where Joe Biden was.
I don't think the stock market and today's polls are the best measurement.
When it comes to the economy, this is where it's a little trickier, and this is where his numbers have gone south.
But only 28% say the economy is excellent or good.
He is underwater when it comes to the economy, tariffs, and inflation.
So think about what's happening there. Pretty straightforward. That's what the people out there are thinking based on multiple surveys. I showed you multiple groups of people across any way you cut it up, including politically. That's what they're telling pollsters. And because that includes a Fox pollster, Fox can't just ignore their own poll and work, right? Maybe it'll get less play late in the evening, depending on the host. But they are, and you can say a credit to some of the hosts who did deal with the news, they're covering this. So that people say, this isn't what we voted for. This isn't what we want. We don't want this type of governance from Trump, even if they are, many of the people, more conservative, more likely to give him the benefit of the doubt. That's still what they're saying. And then Fox says that back to the Fox audience in MAGA world, and you get this cycle of this reality. Now, the economic problems are clearly driving the swiftest rise in the opposition to Trump, and history shows this early period is supposed to be virtually always as the high point in approval for a second-term president. Because presidents typically enter office with the groundswell of support, usually from their recent election, that, quote, wanes over time, as the New York Times puts it. So Trump's approval has actually been dropping slightly faster than his predecessors. And across Trump's 2 terms, separated, of course, by Biden, Trump has the dubious record of the, quote, lowest approval rating for a president in modern history. So, what do we do with this? We have this politician who has power, but who is also widely opposed, historically unpopular, and who I will remind you, and this might sound like one of those criticisms or burns, but it's not. It's just literally the numbers as we've gone through this together as a country. I will remind you, Trump's not only historically unpopular compared to those other presidents in all modern era, he also got fewer votes in 2016 and in 2020. And then had that narrow finish that I mentioned last November. And yet you have this round of bad polls, and for many people, it almost lands like a surprise, as if the Trump show and the PR and the spectacle have slowly worked on some people to confuse them about what is his actual condition. A very unpopular, sometimes reviled figure for how he talks about people, for how he treats people, for the type of leadership he offers, and for how he runs the government and the economy. So the evidence actually reinforces how facts are different than spectacle. And if you want to grade him on a PR or spectacle curve, and that's part of politics, certainly part of our internet televised politics, you could say he is effective at that. And there's so much spectacle and so many storylines, and I'm not the first or the last to note this, that sometimes it does distract from the baseline, which is that his ideas and leadership, and the president version of him, the first and second term, altogether are extremely unpopular with most people. Now, by the end, let's be clear. President Biden's term wasn't viewed as some high watermark of popularity either. There were the tense times after COVID and the readjustments to that economically. There was Jan 6, which, of course, was caused by the right, but was a fissure across our politics, and many other things that were not by any means going great in the Biden era. We covered that at the time. But I mention that right now for a comparison that also happens to be bad for the current president. Biden went out as a leader who did overstay his welcome, according to his own Democratic Party. So keep that in mind when you consider this fact, also in the new polling. Donald Trump is now doing worse than that. Whether you call it the Biden standard, Biden had positive numbers at this point in his term, as did other presidents in both parties. So anyone who wants to slag Biden or say, gosh, at least we're not there, you hear that from some Republicans. Well, politically, actually, you are there, you're worse. Trump has struggled in both terms, even in the early 95-day kind of honeymoon period. So that's what we're hearing from the public. This young Trump second term also has courted more formal pushback, not just the surveys or the general sort of public opinion, which does matter in politics, but this rejection we're seeing across Wall Street, which is normally pro-Republican, across top law firms. These are the people who, of course, form a type of leadership in our country, whether you want to make lawyer jokes or not. They are the people who litigate and debate and represent a lot of the largest companies in the country, and the big disputes run through them and up to the courts. They're pushing back against what they see as Donald Trump's attack on the very fundamental right to counsel. They also, when you talk about elite politics, the firms tend to represent a lot of moneyed interests. But many of them going against Trump because they say he's undercutting key rights. And then there's civil society in general, where it's no surprise. We have the professionals, the academics, the scientists, basically everyone committed professionally or otherwise to some level of facts or objective reality. Well, they've been pushing back in all sorts of ways. Then you have the courts, where even having 3 of his own appointees on the Supreme Court did not spare Trump a 7-2 loss last weekend on the core issue of whether he is abusing and exceeding his executive power. All 3 of his appointees ruled against him. Now, we haven't got to the final resolution of that case, so in all fairness, we're going to have to see what happens, but that was an extraordinary weekend rebuke, and it wasn't close, 7-2. All right. That's the bad polling. That's the politics of it. That's some other indicators. I've just given you a lot. But I have a little more, and it does involve pizza. There are the Trump voters. And the data shows that many Trump voters are loyal to him, even if they're concerned about these economic problems. But you don't drop 10% from your November election results, by definition, without leaving behind and losing the support of some of these Trump voters. They're upset. The disapproval numbers that I'm telling you about, which are on Fox News, just like they're in Pew, mean that Trump voters now disapprove, some of them, of Trump's first 95 days. Politically, that doesn't tell you the future. They could still come back to the Republican Party. But it shows that they are observing and living this. Many people can see and feel that it's not just that Trump's having a rough start. So before I get to the pizza, I'm going to remind you what he said. Because many people can see he's not doing what he said he would do, and often doesn't even seem to be trying to make good on these promises.
I will immediately bring prices down starting on day one. I'll get the war with Ukraine and Russia ended. If I'm president-elect, I'll get it done before even becoming president. But if I win, we will rapidly defeat inflation. Look at what's going on in the Middle East. This would have never happened. I will get that settled and fast. Starting the day I take the oath of office, I will rapidly drive prices down, and we will make America affordable again.
People remember some of that. He ran on that economic message, and look at the economy we're living through. So the surveys capture broad response to that. On the campaign pledges versus the current Trump economy. Worldwide, the influential Economist magazine, which is a right-leaning but pro-markets publication, has this new cover. You can see their view is that Trump's tenure has left America as a kind of battered, bandaged bald eagle. The headline, only 1,361 days to go, refers to the end of Trump's last term, of course, the second term. The Constitution bans any president from serving past that second term. So fact check, true. That's how many days there are to go. Meanwhile, the Times writes this headline today on major economic decision: Trump blinks and then blinks again. It captures something that is a more dire conclusion than where we were on, say, day one of the presidency, where Wall Street and nonpartisan reporters were waiting to see what he did on the economy and trade. Now, that is an objective statement. It is literally true that he just keeps blinking because he is widely seen, even on Wall Street, amidst all the Republicans, as a kind of amateurish, weak leader in this so-called trade war. And Fox continues to digest Trump's polling slump while its sister outlet, The Journal, reports Trump lost. It's basically time to move forward. Quote, China called Trump's bluff and seems to have won this round. It's all sinking in, even if the entire kind of blustering PR strategy of this MAGA movement in the Trump White House has been to try to tell you everything you see before your eyes, from the falling markets to the failed tariffs to the actual collapsing support for this young honeymoon president. They want you to believe it's not true, but it is.